What are miracles? Miracles are things that we have heard of for a long time, and we often say the word or hope for it without knowing what it means and what it signifies. Yet every day, believers and unbelievers pray for miracles to come in their families, workplaces, communities, and their day-to-day lives. So what are miracles, and do they really happen? In the Bible, we see miracles everywhere, from the splitting of the Red Sea to the raising of the dead. Not only do these miracles prove God's power to those on earth, but it shows that He cares for us and wants to work with us to accomplish His purposes here today. The question people ask is why miracles don't happen very often. Miracles are described as an extraordinary and welcome event that is not explainable by natural or scientific laws. In the Latin language, it is a mix of two words, thaumazo and mira, which mean to wonder at or be amazed at. That's why miracles are hoped for, because they are beyond human thinking and understanding, and their results bring so much joy and happiness. Some people think miracles exist, others think they don't and are just fables to get your hopes up, and other groups think miracles died after the book of Acts. There are many views on miracles, but if you're a true believer, you should know that miracles happened and they still happen today. Malachi 3:6 says, I the Lord do not change, and in Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if God used to do miracles back then, because what the scriptures say, and we can believe that He performed miracles now, because God never contradicts His word. So we see miracles can still happen. So why don't most people believe? The reason most believers don't believe in miracles is because that if it hasn't happened to them, then it certainly must not exist. For example, someone might be sick and pray to God for a miracle, and the person ends up dying. Those around this person might end up with the assumptions of, God doesn't care, miracles don't happen, it's God's fault, and God doesn't exist. These are the common responses in our world today. We need to know that God knows the hurts and sufferings that we face, and has never planned evil for us. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. But the question is still there. Why that person did die, and why wasn't there any miracle? This is a tough question to answer because no one knows the thoughts of God except the Holy Spirit. Miracles or no miracles, our experiences don't determine who God is and what He does. He says He is good and does good in Psalms 119:68. So we keep persevering in trust. That's what believing is. So if the miracle happens, why? Miracles don't happen for the sake of happening, but because they reveal something about God's character and nature. An example is the story of Abraham. Abraham had to wait till he was 100 years old until he got the child God had promised him. Abraham's situation seemed impossible, but in his waiting and trusting in God, he realized an important aspect of God, His faithfulness to complete what He says. Even when God told Abraham to sacrifice his son, Abraham trusted God, even if it meant the death of his son. So when you see someone get healed, or God interfered in a situation, or see something miraculous, look at what God is revealing about His nature, and give thanks, not only for the miracle, but for the new revelation that He has given you. Miracles have a lot to do with faith. And whether the miracle happens or not, your faith should not waver. You should be strengthened by the fact that you have kept praying and believing in God. Whether the miracle is big or small, they're still miracles. We should not belittle something God is doing. Miracles do and still happen. And when you look around you and watch what God is doing around the world, be encouraged to see that God is still actively moving on earth.